Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for joining me here today as we get to talk about one of my favorite subjects, comic books. My name is Jose. I love comic books. I love talking about them, and I love sharing them with you. Feel free to follow me on social media if you would like. Links are in the description below. So, we're going to do something a little different than what I normally do because I'm also like comic books for the art. And I ended up getting three trades at half price book, and I want to go over them. And the reason I got them is because this is the first comic book work of Dan Mora, who is quite popular, I might add, and I want to we're just going to look. We're going to look at his art. This is Hexed, and this is like the second story arc of Heck, and it's called The Harlot and the Thief. Now this cover he does not do because he, like I said, this was his first published work, and the first series of Hex was done by this Emma Rios, I believe, and then Dan Mora is doing the second one, but he is penciling and inking this thing, and the covers are in the back. The way the trade works is they put the covers in the back. I don't know why trades don't just, I don't know. Trades, they make them more complicated than they really should be. So we are going to not read. We're not going to read this. We are simply going to look at his first work. Um he is quite popular now. I really do like him. The work that he has done in comic books now with DC Comics is absolutely amazing. So once a month, we're gonna look at work from Dan Mora, similar to how we are doing this. And the at least when we get to the Power Rangers, because I am not interested in the Power Rangers at all, and I am interested, however, in his. He's so much more cleaner now. This looks almost, his style has evolved so much from this. It's uncanny to see this, but as I mentioned, I'm not interested in this story in particular. I'm quite sure it's good. Maybe I'll read it eventually, but not today. And Power Rangers, as mentioned, I'm not, when I grew up in the 80s, and Power Rangers is really from the 90s, so I never really got into the Power Rangers. So I don't have that nostalgia that other people have for them. So we are just gonna, like I said, concentrate on Dan and his work. So, and basically, what I want to sort of concentrate on is again the evolution of his work, because Dan Mora does not draw like this anymore. So he does this and then goes to Power Rangers and then goes to DC, and at DC he really blossoms. He's still at DC, although, well, not really. He ended up, now I think he went to Image to do Transformers for, I mean, but I think he only did like the first 6 issues of Transformers. Um, he, I think he's only done cover work for Marvel. I don't think he's ever done any inside work based on what I could find. Um, I've been I discovered Dan Mora late in the game. So I discovered him in when I bought oh my goodness, what the Superman Batman World's Finest that Mark Wade does. That's where I really discovered him, and I'm like, holy cow. So as I can, I've been working backwards to get the stuff from this dude, because this dude is really good now. So but his, like I mentioned, um his line work is completely different. Now, this is his first published work, so of course, it's gonna, like, if you look at Todd McFarlane's first work, it looks so much different than anything that he has done. Even when you look, I think this is issue 2 here. So this is 12 issues. We'll see how many, if we can get through all 12. I'm trying to not go too fast with these things so that you can watch some of this. But who knows? This and also supernatural stuff is not my cup of tea. So this kind of stuff that's happening doesn't. I'm a superhero kind of guy. I love superheroes. Um, Horror stuff. I don't, not in comic books. Not really. Um, Maybe, I don't know. I like Hellboy, but Mike Mignola is something completely separate. I'm more of a fan of his work, and so I Hellboy um, doesn't really bother me, but I'm only in it if he draws it or Richard Corbin. Rest in peace, Richard Corbin. So for the most part, I don't do horror, which this does seem to be some kind of a horror book. And Dan Mora's work is so separate. So one of the things that you see here is his influence. He was very manga-ish, um, and little by little, his art became, I think, more westernized. But he was definitely influenced by manga. You can see that in the eyes. You can see the um, the noses, all these kind of things. So this Dan Mora is going to is just going to be such, when you see this and what he turns into, it's just incredible. So we may actually only do the first 4. I think this trade, so it's 12 issues, and I think this trade only covers the first 4 issues. So we may just do the first 4. Okay, so we go to issue number 3. And like I said, I just want to get into all of Dan Mora's work, kind of like a career introspective. And then once we get into the DC work, which is the work that I'm more, um, that I like the most, obviously, because I like superheroes. I think with that, when we get to that, then we'll do what I normally do, which is go and do stories and all that kind of stuff. But for now, we're simply looking at the art. This is also a visual medium, but um, this type of this is from, I think, Boom Studios had published this, and Boom also, I think, did the Power Rangers. So Dan Mora was with Boom for a while. So, um, man, I mean, you can see a little bit of what he ends up becoming here. I mean, because evolution of work, but it just it's just so night and day what he ends up turning into. And Dan Mora, as I mentioned, is quite quite the artist. Now, I think he is probably the best. And one of the things that I really enjoy about Dan Mora is that he's still draws the inside of comic books. He doesn't just, he's not a cover artist. He's no longer like Arthur Adams. Arthur Adams, you can, I don't think he's drawn the inside of a comic book. Dan Mora is still a storyteller. Whether or not he'll continue being a storyteller and just settle in, it's unfortunate because these guys become popular, like Todd McFarlane, Mark Silvestri, guys like that, and then the only guy that's still drawing is um, Eric Larson, and I'm not a big Eric Larson. Oh wow, look at that. Um, Not a big Eric Larson guy. I prefer Todd Jim Lee, who just doesn't with what his career path is. He just doesn't have the I guess the time to really draw. Um, I love when artists still continue to do the insides, and Dan Mora still draws, and he still is a storyteller. So, um, yeah, I really dig his work. So, like I said, this is just a career, um, and we are just gonna look through. We're just gonna continue here. I don't know. Maybe I'm at 10 minutes, so we'll do. Uh, I don't know. I'm indecisive. I guess I'll just do um the first four for now. So we'll just go with what I was thinking of doing. Maybe, you know what, at 10 minutes each, 11. Maybe we can do all 12. You know what? I'm committed. We'll do all 12 issues and get this all done with. So because I don't think um I think the next four, because I really want to see the difference between. So here come the covers. So this would be issue number one. This was the main cover artist, Emma, and I think Dan Mora just did. This is Dan Mora here. He did a variant cover for issue number one, and then also issue number one. This is issue two, three, and like I said, here's four. Does he do anything else? No. So there we go. So let's get on with the next one. So my daughter works for Half Price Books, and so I normally just get the stuff for her. She uses her discount. So um, so it does. He we're gonna continue here with them more, but so I get stuff for like 50% off already. So each trade, um, basically cost me like $4, and um, I'm gonna be so sad if she ever quits that job. Um, as mentioned so many times, and will probably be mentioned so many other times, he does not draw like this. It just his art has changed so much. Um, it's great when you can see evolution of people, and I want to do someone that a lot of people recognize sort of now, which would be Dan Mora. This is something relatively newer. Wait, I should have actually looked at the year this came out. So it looks like 2014 is when the series originally came out. Now, something here is not screen tones, but duotones. And I don't know if he's creating this effect digitally. I have to assume that he's doing this digitally. I just don't think people were using that back in the. Sorry, I skipped through. There we go. Back in the day. So I have to assume that the screen tones and the dual tones were all being done digitally. But oh, wow, are you guys that are watching this? Do you like Dan Mora? Because I have to tell you, current Dan Mora is a superstar. He is a great. My goodness, I absolutely love his current art. Um, so so we're about halfway through. It's 12 issues, so I'm probably looking at 30-minute, half-hour video or so. I'm quite sure if I was doing the reading the man, look at the screen tones and the dual shade. So yeah, this has to be digital. But oh, that looks so good. I love that. Um, I lost my train of thought here, so I'm easily distracted. Shiny object syndrome. And so, watching or the watching Dan Mora nowadays is just wow. The guy's so good. I recently, as of this recording in 2026, I got his Supergirl cover that he did for the movie, and my goodness, it's just wonderful. So yeah, I got got these issues. I think about well, as of this recording, about um 2 weeks ago, and I still haven't read them, and I probably never will. Like I said, it just doesn't. I got them for Dan Mora, and just to look through his stuff. Um, I am currently um have his or looking for his other work on Boom, the oh my goodness, the Power Rangers, because I've never really been interested in the Power Rangers. So, but I'm not gonna pay full price for them, so I have to wait till I see them on half price books. So I like Dan Mora, but um, not Power Rangers. I'm gonna spend cash on hard cash on those. So I don't mind getting them in at a discount, but definitely um, not paying full price. I've gone back to some of his other, like I said, I've been going backwards for his DC work. I also got his Transformers work, which was the thing about the Transformers is that most people draw them the same. I think everybody uses the same stuff, the same blueprint. So Optimus Prime always looks like Optimus Prime, regardless of who's drawing him. Megatron the same. So even though the characters in Transformers were, you could see Dan Mora thing. I don't think his Transformers work was that exceptional. So he does much better. Like I said, working for DC, um, doing the super heroics. So all right, chapter 8. Oh, the cat died. I forgot about that. Oh, I like kitties. I have a cat. I have a dog. I had two dogs, but unfortunately, one passed this year, and oh, that was so sad. So, um, I love animals. I'm a big animal lover. I'm one of those that has to find out if an animal dies before I keep watching. Like if I watch a movie, to this day, I still haven't seen the scene where John Wick's puppy is killed. I've seen John Wick many times, but I started when he starts looking for revenge. I've seen the beginning, but I skipped the part with the puppy. So I'm a big animal lover, and having to put my puppy down, and I call him a puppy. He was 10. Um, he had a oh my gosh, when the heart's too big. Not an overgrown heart. Um, but that's ultimately, um, he just got too weak, and his heart was racing so much and enlarged. That's the word, enlarged heart. And it was man. I've had to deal with that before, but it's never easy when you love animals. It's such a horrible thing. So anyway, I don't want to depress you guys. So here we go. Continuing with Dan Mora. Here we go with the covers here. And it does look like he does this cover. So not bad. That is does not look like him. And okay, so he's now doing the covers. Okay. All right. And so here we go. The last four issues here. And one of the things I've noticed on half price books, the at least on my on the one that my daughter has, is people get rid of full runs. Somebody went and got rid of like a bunch of 70s Hulk over like 200 issues or damn near 200 issues. And I just looked at it and I was like, "Holy cow." Um that is a lot that is a lot of issues. So a lot of people will come in and just get so now it's a little ghost kitty. And anyway, yeah, you can like just go in there and all of a sudden you'll just find the full run of something. They've done that before with Fantastic Four and all that kind of stuff. Man, you can just get really you can get comic for really cheap there, especially with my daughter's discount. I don't go there when she's not there because she doesn't go there on her day off. So I go there when she's there, and then I'll get whatever I need. But most of the time it's comic books and graphic novels. I don't really get DVDs or any of the other stuff or even books. Um I'm a comic books kind of guy. So yeah, Dan Mora gets these 12 issues under his belt, and then Power Rangers will come. This part looks kind of very cool. Almost like it's digitally painted to show. Um, must be this is in the past here. Like I said, I haven't read it. So it looks like it's in the past. You can see why I gravitate towards superhero work as you look through this. You guys may not even be um, care for this kind of work. So I guess why I ended up putting all 12 issues is it's better to have one video that doesn't get views than to have all of a sudden do three videos that nobody cares. But I hope that seeing Dan Mora his name here will cause you guys to at least listen to or watch a little bit of it, even if you guys end up going, not my cup of tea either. You know, demons and that kind of stuff. Um, Spawn, for example, Todd McFarlane's Spawn is much different because Spawn is a character that's got capes and is looks visually interesting and it's very super heroic-ish, even if it deals with the occult and all that kind of stuff. But when Greg Capullo left, and it took me a while, I ended up going back, but I left when McFarlane left. Now, eventually, I came back because the work Greg Capullo was doing was absolutely phenomenal. And I went back and now I have all issues 1 through 100, but I left after Tony. The book just to me never found its thing. I would buy the McFarlane covers, but that's it. I don't I just don't care for the kind of storytelling. Plus, Spawn never really interested me. So and as I talk about that, it just basically it's the same with this. The these kind of stories don't interest me. Something is killing the children. And I know that it just that's not my cup of tea, so I don't buy it. So I never got something is killing the children. Um, it's obviously a very sophisticated book, adult ish, all that kind of stuff, but I'm a superhero guy. I just like superheroes. So I didn't really um I'll get independent books. Invincible was one that I, dug, but you gotta give me superheroics. Um I just don't I don't know. It's outside of my comfort zone, I guess you could say. Now, this is outside of my comfort zone, but like I said, I haven't read it. I really don't know what is happening. I'm looking at the pretty pictures, and it's kind of when I saw the book, I was like, "Huh, Dan Mora." So I picked them up. Basically, if my daughter didn't work there, I don't think I would have picked them up if it wasn't for a discount. I honestly don't think I would have. But you know, it's just not my cup of tea. So Swamp Thing, for example, Alan Moore's Swamp Thing. Now, I was growing up, I was a kid with Alan when Alan Moore was in that, so I never really got into it. But even as an, it just is not my cup of tea. Um, Give me Batman, give me Superman, give me Wonder Woman, give me Spider Man, Captain America, Thor. You know, I need superheroics. I'm a fan of the big two when done correctly. So yeah, and it looks like we're almost done here. So look at that. Got all 12 issues in under 30 minutes. So this looks to be the end. There we go. So now let's look at the cover. So Dan Mora. I'm not really gonna ask you what you think perhaps of the story because we didn't cover the story, but what you think of the art? I really think that this dude is let me go back here. This dude, what he ends up becoming is it's just like I said, it's night and day here. So a couple of the different things that um his inking there. So but he just doesn't draw like this. It almost looks like he works digital. Um so there we go. So that's the writer of this story. So there we go. Hexed, the harlot and the thief, 1 through 12. Dan Mora drew it all 12 issues, and yeah. So you got to see his first work. Like and subscribe. I thank you so much for listening. Goodbye.